Hey everyone, Ethan here from Extreme RC 4x4, and what I have on the bench today is the RC 4-wheel drive Trailfinder 2. This is the standard wheelbase. It was a kit version when I first got it, but today what I'm going to be talking about is an upgrade that I'm going to be offering on my website, which will allow you to eliminate the factory transmission and transfer case. And while I do love the 2-speed transmission that comes in this from the factory, I've just had enough of the slop that is in this entire truck, and this transmission has absolutely a ton of it. So in the process, I'm going to show you guys this upgrade here. Basically allows you to install an AX10 transmission inside of the truck. As you can see, this is not a normal AX10 transmission. I do have my motor mount plate on it. This is kind of a forward motor mount, but this is going to be a separate video on how to build this transmission to be like this. So with that out of the way, the first step of the installation is to just remove all of the transmission and transfer case right out of the truck, and the rest of my electronics are tied to that. So pull that out. And what this kit is aimed, the person this kit is aimed towards is the one that is looking for more performance out of this chassis. You get to keep the leaf springs. It's a really great platform, but adding this transmission really makes it so much better. So if you do order the entire AX10 installation kit from me, what you're going to be looking at is these are called saddle trays. First, we'll get to the boring stuff first. These go on the side of the truck like this. Since you can't use the factory battery tray anymore, these are called saddle trays because they saddle the frame rails. You get this high clearance AX10 transmission skid plate. This is all machined out of 1/8" aluminum. Then I put it in the vise and bend it, and then on the CNC machine I have it actually cut slots in here, not all the way through, but enough so that when I bend it, they bend perfectly where I want it to, and then I braze it so that they won't bend on you. This is our new front battery tray. What this is going to allow you to do is relocate the battery. Like I said, you can't use the factory battery tray that goes right there. This saddle tray has this radio electronics box on it, so that you can mount your electronics close up here. And you'll also get the parts to turn your transmission into this setup here, where we have these aluminum plates and moves the motor in the front, as well as a pile of hardware to work with. So the first step of this, why don't we go ahead and install this skid plate, since this is going to be one of the parts that's available separately. If you don't want all the rest of this, you can get this separate. What we're going to do is flip the truck upside down. I'll move some of these parts so I can get closer to you guys. So the way this goes into the truck, you'll notice these skid plates are kind of offset to one side. The drive shaft is going to be coming out of the longer side. So we want to place it on the truck where the drive shaft is going to be on the side where this axle housing is. So when it's upside down, this is a passenger side drop on this transfer case, but it's just straight through. So passenger side is the side that we want the transmission to end up on. Now let's grab 4 of our countersunk screws. This bolts directly to the bottom of the frame. So we'll take our 4 screws here. And the holes that are used on the Trailfinder frame are already threaded, so Now, one of the things about this narrow skid plate piece here that you're probably wondering is, why is it so narrow? The answer to that question is, I wanted this to be able to work with the RC four-wheel drive link mounts. Some of you guys know way back when I first got this truck, I 4-linked and 3-linked the front end, and it was just such a pain to find a skid plate that would work with that. So I've designed this skid plate so that if you want to run the 4-link setup, you should have no interference with this skid plate at all. So if you are running links on yours with the RC four-wheel drive kit, do not worry, this should work without any modifications. But as you can see, you get incredible ground clearance with this skid plate, and the drive shaft angles really aren't even concerning to me. I've seen worse. To some people, the drive shaft angles will be harsh, but the skid plate actually sits sits above the bottom of the rock sliders. These are RC four-wheel drive Tough Armor rock sliders, I think. I really do love them. If you guys don't have metal rock sliders on yours, I would highly recommend it. So with that installed, I'm going to take some quick pictures. Alright, so the next step after we've gotten the skid plate installed is we're going to install the saddle trays as well as the front battery tray. The reason we want to do this first is because the motor actually sits on top of this, and this sits on top of the saddle trays. Because we set this in here, it does lean a little bit, so putting 1/8-inch thick saddle trays helps make up for that. So when we're installing the trays, take our 2 pieces of hardware and we're just going to set the tray. As you can see, we have a side that has a lot of holes in it. With the side of the 4 holes is the chassis side, because we do have these 2 center holes, so if you do want to attach something through there, you still can. And we'll just get this one started. This one that has the box on it is designed to go on the driver's side, but the box will fit either one because they're the same plate. Now that those are loosely in place, just with the last hole on the frame here, we can go ahead and set our front battery tray on here. When we're looking at the battery tray, you'll notice this tab in the back that's also bent and brazed. The reason that is there is to keep the battery from sliding into the open spur gear. And we are going to want our factory Velcro straps. They fit into the Velcro holders here. You can still run a full-size battery with this, and you can also run a smaller shorty pack if you want to. I like to put this, the actual loop side, on the side of the frame closest to the servo, like this, so that when we're putting the battery in, we can loop it back towards ourselves. And then take a battery. I'm a little bit picky about how far in these collars sit, because this piece will actually get pinched in the frame, so set it to a place where you want it to stay, because it is going to stay there unless you loosen things up a little bit. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now these 2 screws right here are going to set right on top of the front of the saddle trays, and then this single hole right here is going to sit on this servo mount in the front of the frame that you don't use with the factory servo. So that's right there. Now we'll go ahead and install the rest of our hardware right here. Now we'll take one of our countersunk screws and we're going to install it in the front. The reason we have a countersunk screw is because the battery is going to be setting on top of that and we don't want to risk damaging the battery. Now we can tighten up the screws in the back here. Alright, just like that, the front battery tray and the saddle trays are installed. I'll again take some quick pictures. Alright, and just like that, guys, we have most of the kit already installed. The last thing to do is to install the transmission. This is probably one of the easiest steps. We're just going to flip the truck over and put the transmission in. So, like I said, guys, the video about the transmission specifically will be posted separate, just because this transmission is used on things like my Terramite chassis. If you haven't seen that yet, that is up on the website. I'm still working on getting some final pictures done for it. But other than that, it is ready to go. It also uses this transmission just because it allows the transmission to become so narrow. That's why I have to use it in this case, because otherwise the transmission won't fit between the frame rails. So I would have to set this skid plate pretty much on top of the frame rails rather than below. Alright, so there you go, guys. Very nice smooth skid plate. All countersunk hardware. So, other than installing the drive shafts, that's all done. I'm going to go ahead and quick throw the drive shafts in. Make sure you put the drive shafts in phase while you're installing them, just so that you don't get any weird vibrations coming from the truck. Okay, guys, so I got the drive shafts in. I want to go ahead and show you what we have for a drive shaft angle, since I did mention that earlier. And this is the drive shaft angle, as well as the rear here. So really, in my mind, that is acceptable. These trucks aren't going to be running any highway speeds or anything like that that you might be concerned about in a full-size vehicle. So, to me, that is perfectly acceptable. If you don't think that's perfectly acceptable, I understand. I know not everyone's going to want this kit, but a simple solution to that would be to put some spacers in between the skid plate and the frame rails. You can drop that skid plate lower if you want to, but personally for me, I like having the high ground clearance. I literally put one scratch in the bottom of this skid plate in about an hour of runtime driving this. That's how high the skid plate actually sits on this truck now. So I'm really happy with how this kit turned out. I understand that it's not for everyone. You're definitely not going to be able to put a full interior in a truck with this transmission in the center rather than forward with a transfer case. But if you are looking to improve the performance of your truck, especially getting some of this weight in the front, I wouldn't be surprised if the truck actually lost some weight from losing that big transmission. But to be able to put the battery up front like this, and then the transmission in the center. That's what you're going to be looking like out on the trail. To me, this was just a huge performance upgrade. I really couldn't stand having so much slop in the transmission where between forward and reverse the truck would roll so far you'd have to anticipate it. I'm really happy with this, even though I'm going to miss the 2-speed. So if you're looking for performance out of your trail finder, this is the kit for you. Check it out, extremrc4x4.com. Made in America here in West Michigan. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of the kit. I'll make sure to get a running video out of this soon. I know you just saw the video of the Power Wagon in this out running at the home course, so hopefully the weather will turn nice like that again and we'll be able to get some more footage for you guys. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.